drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning?
I'm Paul Bennett at Downeast Thunder Creations here in Millbridge, Maine. We're located not very far from the U.S.-Canadian border along Maine's Bold Coast. And last week I showed you how to make your own, I showed you how to make a net making needle or shuttle. Essentially I gave you a full-size pattern. I cut it out of my CNC and left it to you, if you don't have one, to use hand tools to pop one out. It's a handy tool, and if you made one and you're following along, I promised you I'd show you how to make a net, simple net making. So I was going to go ahead and make the net this week, but I realized that a lot of people are not very quick to pick up knots, and it's hard to see when you're using the smaller line that I use for making a net. So this week, it's a short video. I'm going to show you the basic knot that I use. There are many knots used in net making. I'm going to show you a very simple one that most people use, and a little trick if you want to secure the knot to keep it from becoming a slip knot. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you how I do it, and then next week, now that you know the knot, you can practice it, you have an understanding of how to tie it, and using much larger lines so you can easily see how the line goes. Next week I'll go ahead and I'll load up a net making needle and start making a net. And I'll actually make a small rectangular net and show you how you can do it yourself. And then after that you can make them as big or as small as you want. So please like and share and subscribe, do all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. It helps my channel out quite a bit. And also visit my Patreon page. I hope you'll become a patron. And the weather's improving here in Maine, so it won't be long. I'll be back to being outside, and I'll be back at work on my boat hull. I want to get that sailboat, I want to get the hull completed and maybe even get it in the water by the end of the season. So thanks again for watching. Before you begin tying your net, it's a good idea to learn the basic knot that I'll be using. It's important to note that there are many different types of knots used in making nets, and different people that make nets, they have their favorites that they use. I'm going to show you a simple one that a lot of net makers use, and then I'll show you a little trick to make it even better or more secure. I'm going to do this now so you can learn the basic knot. Once you have that under your belt, next week I'll actually start making a net and you can follow along. Now if you made your threading needle or shuttle last week from last week's video, just imagine that I have smaller line and I have it loaded on the needle. I'm using much larger line here in order to show you the knot, and makes it easier to see in the video. So I've loaded it up. I have all kinds of line loaded on the needle, and here's the line. And the first loop, I'm going to make the first knot as I'm making my net. You just have to picture that. Okay, to begin the knot, what I'm doing is I'm going through here. I'm taking my needle, I'm passing it underneath the loop and coming through. So that seems pretty simple and straightforward. I'm going to go underneath the two lines that form that loop. Okay, you can see that. You can follow the path of the lines. And then, as I come around this loop, this line that I just put through, I'm going under that one. So I'm going underneath these two, and you can see how that looks. That looks fairly simple. Looks pretty good right there. I'm gonna, here, I want to adjust it so that you can look at it, keep it loose so you can see how that goes. went under the loop, around the back side of it, came under the same line. You can see how that goes. So when you cinch down on it, when you're pulling this tight, making your net, and every single knot would be like that. It's that simple. Okay? That in itself is just fine, and a lot of nets are made using this knot just like that. It's very fast and it's easy. However, if you're going too fast and you're not paying attention, what can very often happen is, as you're starting to pull things tight, this actually pops down a little bit and it slips down like this. Okay? If you can see what's going on here. That slips down, and then what you have, you just have a slip knot. So it's not really holding. So in order for this knot to work, this loop can't fall down under this loop. But there's a way to prevent it and make this more secure so that that doesn't happen. Let me get more line through here. So I'll show you what you can do to secure it. There's the basic knot as we first tied it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the needle and I'm going to go underneath this loop right here. I'm just making another loop right here, like so. And now when I pull it tight, that's going to keep that, it's less likely to have this knot slip down, and now it gets very secure and it's not going to slip on you. And it takes a little bit of extra time, and a lot of people don't want to take that time. And as I said, the more you do this, the better you're at it. You know, when you're using very small line, these knots draw up very, very tight. And if you do it right the first time, it's unlikely to slip on you. But if you want to take the time to do that one little extra loop, that's going to lock it into place. So it's up to you what you decide when you're making your net. So I'm going to take a couple of still pictures showing this loose so you can look at it and see how they go. Learn the 2 knots. It's really 1 knot with a little bit of a little security loop there. And so you're going to be ready to go for next week when I actually start making the net.